Dear students and parents, in today's episode of In Conversation series, we are extremely happy to have as our guest Mr. Jayashankar SS, a banking professional with more than 2 decades of experience in the industry with one of the most trusted banks in the country. But after that much of experience in this line, shifted his attention to the area of enabling and social enabling, I would say. The way I would like to describe his current firm, Urja, the entity that he founded, conceptualized, founded, and branded, I would say. And he describes his entity as a platform for enabling and as an ecosystem for the differently abled people in the society. Now, I would like to understand more from, we would like to understand more from him about his desire to start this and the way forward for his Urja. My dear students and parents, a very warm welcome to Mr. Jayashankar to our show.
Thank you so much, Ajay and Physics Chamber for giving me this great opportunity. I've been very closely watching Physics Chamber over the last so many years, and you've already started creating waves in the industry. So happy and then proud to be part of Physics Chamber's this talk show, Ajay.
As a matter of fact, we got acquainted with each other when we were neighbors in another metro city, and at that time he was in the banking industry. I have sort of seen his professional avatar in a completely different industry, but then in 2017-18 period, he came back to Kerala and started Urja. So I would like to start off his this conversation by requesting him to enlighten us what exactly was the motivation to start an entity in the enabling segment, and how do you visualize your role in this segment?
Thanks, Ajay. This has been a very repeated question to me, and then wherever I meet, there's been one question which used to come to me. This has been my dream passion, I would say, which has been in my mind for many years before I decided to finally hang my boots with the corporate entity and then start off with Urja. When it comes to differently able people, or the official language called people with disability, the first emotion which comes to all of our mind is a kind of empathy and helplessness, I would say, when it comes to parents and differently able people. I somehow had a completely different feeling because, having my own brother who had gone through this journey of, empowerment from a differently able person. I know that for sure these people possess amazing talent and potential. And it's a function of that half empty, half full, that famous thought. And I always thought we were missing the perspective of looking at the half full part of the differently able person's capacity. That's how the model got formed, I would say. And before I launched Urja in 2017, I've been observing a lot of these models across the globe. I had the opportunity to speak to a lot of corporates who've been doing these kind of empowerment models. I could also go to a lot of special schools and speak to parents, interact with them, and then figure out what are the kind of deficits currently we have in the model. And I am saying it's a humble attempt by me to see whether I can connect all these dots together and then create a model.
Excellent. Thank you, Jayashankar, for that note. Dear students, Mr. Jayashankar is actually a BTech and MTech from one of the prestigious institutes in Kerala, and then he moved into the banking industry where he has really done good accomplishments before moving into this field. So it is actually a pretty less off-traveled road, I would say. So my next poser to you would be, what would be the major differences in your own style of work that has happened when you were working with a proper established corporate, and then now when you move into this area of an enabling and a fabric which will support the differently able people?
Typical of an Ajay, it's a very tricky question, Ajay, and I will take it. I mean, it's a great question to answer. to be very frank, when I look back, in a corporate environment, then a lot of things are taken for granted. A lot of things, there's a beaten path already, and then it's more about going by the direction and then setting it out. It's certainly challenging, and then for sure, it's a very, very demanding job as well. But when it comes to this kind of an environment, especially in the differently able community empowerment, the first and the foremost largest challenge I faced was there was no beaten path which was there for me to look back and then follow. I'm not saying that there are not enough models available. Currently, what I handle is, above the age of 18 or above the age of 20. People who are familiar with this kind of a community will know that there are not many models in India which addresses this kind of an age group. It was a very tough challenge, point number one. Point number two was forming the team for Urja. I think that was the single largest challenge I would perceive to be the issue. There were a lot of notions in the industry already about what kind of a team should be formed when it comes to differently able people, community training. One important decision I had taken was, I will go with a set of people who are in the industry already, who are working already, and then who have got the best possible domain knowledge. Because I didn't want to compromise on the quality of skill building which happens for the differently able community. Looking back 4 years, I'm very thankful that I had a set of around 25 to 30 people who have been part of Urja, who are equally or more committed than me on the cause. And the whole success I could see in the last 4 years, I've been forming this team, and they coming together and then doing it for Urja. I would say the third and the next largest challenge for me has been the customers for Urja. When you say the customers for Urja is not the differently able community in particular. The whole idea of Urja is to ensure that they come up the level and then move into a corporate environment for a career. So getting the corporates to get convinced on this model was the most difficult part. I mean, when I compare to a banking industry, the customers are already used to a banking model, and then it's about deciding between an A bank or a B bank or an A service or a B service. Whereas here I had to go to a corporate where there was no need as of now not existing. There was no need for them to hire from a differently able community. Second, there are a lot of talent otherwise elsewhere available. To speak to them and then make them understand that this is a kind of talent which is possible, and then you should look at it in a different perspective. Third, and the most important thing has been the hiring process. We have been all used to a kind of recruiter model that industry says that a written test and followed by an interview and then selection process. A differently able community selection process goes through a little more longer period of mutual understanding. Thankfully, we were able to find out a lot of models with a lot of support from data and surpass all these challenges, Ajay. That's the way I will put it.
Great. That's a great start, I would say. If you could just throw a little bit more light on what has been your experience in actually interacting with the corporates in terms of obviously taking a cue from what you said when you were a banker, having been a senior vice president in one of the best banks in the country. I'm sure you would have been interacting with the very senior people in the industry or people who run big businesses, etc. So talking to them from an equal footing, as in like, I have a service to offer and I will take care of your requirements kind of a footing is probably what you would talk about. But when it comes to here, I would assume that there is a requirement to do a little bit of what we would call as concept selling mode of approach. So how did you handle that?
Good question. I mean, you said that equal footing. I think that has been the most important requirement when it came to Urja. Hitherto, the differently able community engagement with the corporate was never on an equal footing, to be very frank. I mean, the parent or the differently able person used to assume that is a big support or a big charity which the corporate is offering to me when I'm getting hired. I'm not saying the corporates had that kind of a feeling when they were hiring, but some corporates at least had the feeling that it's a big kind of a giving back to the society by hiring them. The moment that unequal footing coming in, then the element of mutual respect is lost. So the first thing which I did was speaking to all the stakeholders and then bringing them into the table and showing them what are the kind of potential which is possible. A concept selling on a case where there's no need as such, which is not existing in the industry, has been the most difficult part. If I were to summarize the corporates, I mean, believe me, Ajay, over the last 4 years, the number of corporates I would have met, if I had done the same thing at HDFC Bank, my business levels would have been far higher. I mean, I was forced to meet a lot of corporates. I mean, my day goes on meeting only people, and COVID being COVID, in spite of that online meetings. If I were to bucket them into different categories, the most difficult corporates I'm in the set of corporates who never used to tell me why they are telling me the no. Okay, I mean, when a business comes to you or when there's a discussion happening, there can be an yes or a no. I used to like the set of corporates who used to come and say, Jay, we like your concept, but we can't because of these things. Then it's easy for us to address those no's and then combine. There are a lot of, I would say the majority of the corporates used to walk away from Urja, especially in the initial years. Maybe they were a little scared to say a no to us because of the concept of the social cost, and they were getting branded that way. If at all any corporate is listening, my sincere request is, the best way to address this issue is to come back and sit with any such people and then address the no. Point number one. There were a lot of corporates who used to say yes and then still, they didn't want to walk the talk. I mean, because, that was their way of saying no. But I am really thankful. Again, I am a guy who will always look at the half full part. I'm thankful to the corporates who have been part of us in the yes way. That's a set of corporates who had helped us move. And I would say over the last 4 years, the number of corporates walking the talk along with us on the S part has been growing up. In fact, we've been getting a lot of corporates calling us now, and then we're not able to meet their requirements right now. And it's a very good situation to be in. So that's been the category of corporates, I would say. If I were to look at from the corporate perspective, one issue could have been that they were also worried about how this will happen, the integration will happen. They would have been seeing a lot of traditional models only. I said there is an element of recruitment process where at least 3 to 6 months the employees of the corporates also are part of the Urja program. So the selection process happens through that one. That gave a lot of confidence to the corporate, saying that look, I would only need to hire that person until and unless I am convinced that that person is up to our kind of level, so he can get included into the system. I think that has been our deal breaker, I would say, and then could probably get into kind of a level playing field. And I'll just sum up this by saying that we are very, very, very clear when it comes to the corporate interactions, that we walk off any corporate who doesn't give us that level playing kind of a field. Because that's very important for that respect factor mutually. If I'm a differently able person, I come to a corporate, I should certainly get that respect for the talent I possess. Not like, I've kind of, given back to you is a wrong word, as I would say.
So therefore, would you, extending this logic, would you say that this should not be looked upon as part of a corporate social responsibility CSR angle? Is that what you are saying?
Ajay, there's an yes and no to the same question, because CSR, corporate social responsibility, very often in India is being looked upon as funding part alone. Okay, I fund and I probably create some toilets, or I do a lot of those things. In a stricter sense, that's actually not a corporate social responsibility. Unless and until I bring that person part of my corporate, it is not. The other one is philanthropy. Very often people confuse between philanthropy and CSR. CSR is when I bring that person part of the corporate, that's my social responsibility. So I request the corporate saying, your time and energy is something which you can spare for these people. You are anyway hiring talent from the industry. I mean, you pick up these people for differently able people who are showing potential or moldability or learnability. Make it part of your system. Watch them for 1 year as an intern or something, and see whether that's working up to your levels. And when I look back over the last 4 years, the people who have survived, the differently able people who have gone to the corporates and survived in the industry, or who have been able to stabilize their jobs, are with those set of corporates who are willing to spend that time and energy for this different. What these differently able people today require is a mentorship. So that mentorship, if the corporates are willing to put, I think that's a great start point.
It's really great to hear that, Jaishankar. So if I may ask, if you could share a couple of examples of the good feedback of the work done by the products or the alumni of Urja in the corporates, that will sort of help people who are listening to this program also understand what is in store for them.
Sure. See, at Urja, the model what we follow is, we have got a 4-phased kind of a model. We don't have a selection process. First of all, anybody who's above age of 20 and then differently able person, +2 minimum qualifications, the entry barrier, and then we bring them to Urja. Then next few months, all of us, I mean, all 25 to 26 trainers put together, observe them, and start looking for the spark in them to see whether he has got a design thinking capability or a coding logic or a data logic or what are the kind of things. And some people will show that kind of spark in 3 months, 1 year, 2 years. We wait for that one. Once we get that, assume that this person has been spotted for a software logic and everything, he gets into software programming training, and then we involve the prospective corporate to also involve in this training program, and then together we mold them and then place it with the corporate. Now, picking back some of the examples, one, I wouldn't want to pick up specific names of the corporate names for, because it may not be sounding right for the people whom I'm not mentioning. I'll pick up a couple of samples. One corporate was very worriedly calling me around a year back, saying that, Jay, I would want you to speak to this boy who came from Urja and then joined us. I was feeling a little worried because maybe some kind of discipline issue or something happened. I asked him what happened. No, this particular boy wants to leave us. I said, what happened? No, he's saying he has got another offer. But Jay, we would want you to convince this guy to stay back with us. Because I remember this guy, when he came to us, he was just showing only signs of designs, etc. But over the period of 1 year, the kind of growth or the kind of learning he has done over the last 1 year has been amazing for us. Most of the mainstream newcomers also would not have done that kind of a learning. He has now become an integral part of us, and we would want this boy to be staying back with us. And some of the designs he's doing is amazing. And I would want this kind of a importance or a feeling of requirement to happen to the corporate. Then I think this will start flowing in. Point number 2. I've got another boy who came to us who had not even touched a laptop till then before he came to us. First time he touched even a computer or laptop is after coming to Urja. We were also initially worried in the initial few months to saying that what will we be training him. But over a period of time, the kind of design thinking he was showing, he moved into kind of areas of abilities of designing, etc. He's now with a multinational company. We were actually expecting that some of the better guys in the Urja system will be getting the job there. But now, after checking with the corporate, they're very happy with this person, and then he has been able to stabilize over there. Not our capability, I would say, because these are all God's given capabilities with that person. I keep saying that I'm a right hand, and my right hand is always very strong because I keep using my right hand more often. If I'm a deaf, I keep using my eyes more often. That's the most powerful sense for me. I can get into a job which recognizes my eye power. I'm a winner in that particular corporate.
Excellent. So my next question I would like to ask as a teacher. I've been teaching for close to 25 years now, and you as you are an engineer and you have a post-graduation in engineering also, and I'm sure that you've done a lot of training in the banking sector also, equivalent of a teacher in the banking sector. So what I have understood is that trainability is actually a factor that we all look at. So from that angle, the pace at which the students pick up the skills that we are transferring to them, how happy are you with the progress of the Urja alumni on these parameters?
Ajay, it's again like the cross-section in our society itself. There are various factors. There are pace at which they base their IQ levels, etc. It transforms, changes accordingly. But whichever corporate, because having said that, in the alumni, some corporates have not gone through the full cycle of an Urja because of their various restrictions in their operation styles. Whichever corporate we have seen this model being followed of a pre-joining induction with the supervisors along with us, and then including them into the corporate system, we have seen they adapting very fast. Because the largest, for example, we mostly handle hearing impaired people. The biggest disability for a hearing impaired person is communication. Okay, so communication cannot be included so fast unless both sides take efforts. Adaptation is very important. If I'm a hearing impaired guy, I know a lot of things which I may not be able to express to you orally. Okay, so that patience levels are big. But if I've been with you for a long while, then then you'll be able to extract better from me. So that's a cycle I was suggesting. So I would classify the corporates and the alumni into 2 or 3 buckets. The corporates where they went through this kind of an inclusion effort from the supervisor side, not even at the CXO side. I would say the supervisor side and the joinee, it's been very successful. The corporates where because attrition also happens, supervisor keep changing, there's a new supervisor coming. For him also to get adapted can take a little while. This can fail. Third, and the most important thing, irrespective of the corporate culture, the culture is formed by the individuals inside the corporate. So if there is an individual who is coming and looking at this as a pain area of, because training somebody is not a trainer's job alone. I always believe the supervisor is the biggest trainer. Mentor-mentee relationship happens over there. There are a lot of corporates where it failed, where the supervisors were not willing to spend that kind of, extra time for this particular cause. Various reasons could be there. So I would put into these three classifications. The ideal situations are a very committed supervisor and a committed corporate willing to walk the process. It gets very smoothly.
All right. Great to know. Dear students and parents, this entity Urja is located in the city of Cochin in Kerala. And being a teacher, I've always been fascinated by the skill transfer angle of any particular venture. So as I understand, the two segments of the training that happens, one is vocational and the other would be communication part. So what are the challenges faced on both these segments? If you could just narrate so that we can understand, these are the two tools that I'm sure you would be imparting into your Urja students also.
Ajay, when it comes to skill building, the biggest challenge is to create a near work environment inside the inside the office. In a closed door, of creating a near work environment has been the most challenging part. So what we have done is, I said it's an ecosystem. So when I say it's an ecosystem, training and skill building is only one part of Urja. We also have got 6 to 7 entities around Urja, which are either run by differently abled people, founded by differently abled people, but mentored by Urja, or creating products for differently abled people. So we use these entities for the on-the-job training or, work while learn kind of an environment. So the trainees also work part-time for them, make an earning out of that one. So the near work environments are created over there. This 26 people, trainers who are there, constitutes from 6 companies who are part of Urja ecosystem. In the sense, these are 6 senior people who run their own companies. Their team are the ones who are involved in the training. So their work also gets passed on to them and then give them the kind of exposure to work on these areas. So these kind of near work situations which we create helps to transport the skills into these people faster. I always believe it is not about the content which matters, the way how you render the content which matters when it comes to skill building. Now coming on to the specific skill sets, we have software programming, we've got UI UX designing, we've got graphic designing, we've got data science, we've got finance and accounting, and of course, English as a communication language. These are the areas currently we are focusing, and that's the way it is. Ajay, hope I've answered.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Jaishankar. The another area I would like to you to touch upon is when these alumni actually move out into the corporate and start working, they would definitely hopefully find a particular niche area in which they can possibly excel over a period of time, etc. So is there a mechanism in which that kind of a learning is transferred back to Urja so that you can incorporate that into your subsequent batches?
The alumni level leaves Urja, to be very frank. We are always, in constant touch with alumni and even the corporates also. Even with the corporate, the commitment given to them, even after they joining them, there's always a kind of interaction which happens between Urja and them. We also bring in alumni to Urja to interact with the new set of people and then help them to train upon these areas. But to be specifically getting them back to Urja to do any niche kind of training, we would say it is too early for us to do that. We haven't actually started. That's probably in the anvil, and then we plan to create that as well.
All right, great. Okay. So moving forward, wishing all the very best for the Urja ecosystem for enabling the differently abled people in our society. If you were to look at typically like a banker, if you were to look at a SWOT analysis or an opportunity, let us purely look at the opportunities and challenges kind of a thing. What would be the opportunities and what would be the challenges for Urja moving forward?
Ajay, just to give you a small number, the official population says that around 2.5 to 3% of India's population is differently abled people, and I would want to use the word differently abled people. That's an untapped talent base, which I would say for the corporate. That to me is the biggest potential. If for the last 4 years time, we were able to do this kind of a small base, if more and more people join the bandwagon and then create this kind of a skilling model, that's an amazing opportunity which is there for these people to get into a proper career, not a job, proper career, and a very respectful living. So that's one of the most important opportunity. The challenge would be that, if you were to look at for a country of India's size, we have not been able to solve this solution in spite of being a very small number. The real challenge is here, the mindset. Changing that mindset is not an easy thing. I mean, it is not a priority as of now for more people. I mean, I wouldn't say reservation or a forced migration is the right solution. I mean, I would probably just give a small solution only with a reservation. But the lifelong solution can only come in if there is a real, I would say in this particular case, that is a love marriage happening between the employer and the employee, not an arranged marriage. A reservation probably gives an arranged marriage only. So that is the real challenge as of now. I would say one more angle to the real challenge is the senior living part. We have not even thought about people. I'm currently speaking about above the age of 20. Think about the age of 40 and 50 population of differently able people when there is no support system available. The productivity is dipping down. Their earning capacity is dipping down. Their support system, we have not even thought about that till now in India. That to me is the real challenge.
Great. I mean, I'm sure everybody has, the focus area that you can't really save the entire world in one go, but then you can one brick at a time, we can definitely do. Dear students and parents, I have been really fortunate to have known Jaishankar for about a decade and a half now through personal association. And I wish Jaishankar and Urja system for contributing to this wonderful cause. And I thank Jaishankar for joining us in this session of In Conversation series. Thanks a lot, Jaishankar, and wish you all the very best, and everybody at Urja too.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Thank you so much for taking this time and giving this opportunity, and all the very best to you and definitely Simber as well.